Oh, hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Still got a little bit of tech gremlins in the mix. So,
We managed to
and
squish them all, but now we have to get the goo out of the gears, and it's just
yeah,
mean.
it's just
It
real
sticks to
gooey in here.
everything.
It's like marshmallow fluff. It's
Okay.
it's real bad.
I'm
Yeah, and then
on.
it hardens like stale peeps, and it's just awful.
Thank you. Thank you for covering for me. I appreciate it. Okay, I did not get a chance to do sound leveling, so I'm doing that right now. Hello, everybody. I'm Angela. I am your DM du jour for Shenanigoons Season 3. Oh, my band-aid. Season 3, Book of Faebles. And we are very happy to have you all. I hope you're all having a nice, completely uneventful Tuesday. That means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. So we're here as an escapism from nothing at all that you don't need escapism from.
What?
Yeah, great.
I have
Great
no
stuff.
idea what you're talking about, huh?
So we are here to play a little Dungeons and Dragons, and this is actually
Right.
chapter 2 of our story. We are very pleased to. Oh, is there no sound at all? There should be sound.
I don't know. Hold on, let me
Check us
turn
out.
on the sound in mine.
See if there's sound. If there's sound,
Yeah, I have sound
Okay.
in the stream.
I have
it
sound.
might just be you, Mike. I don't know. Double check. See if you're muted. Okay, that makes me feel better because I do see sound lines. I was like, oh no. Oh god.
I heard sound when I turned it on.
Okay. Well then, anyway. Hope y'all are having an okay day. We are here to continue what was our initial episode last week. So, just as a real quick refresher on how this is going to work for the next couple months, we have Chris on loan, essentially, from her current streaming show. So we have her every other week. Chris will be in the stream for a little while, and then she'll incorporate 100%. And Tessa was under the weather today, which we love you, Tessa. Get well soon and rest up. So we have our delightful Goa, Beza, and our Furbolg Harland here to continue what very conveniently was a situation where the party found themselves separate from each other, so this works out great. But before we get started, we want to acknowledge a couple of things. So, Shenanigoons would not exist without the Nerdsmith Network. We are all directors in the Nerdsmith Network, and it has been our pride and joy for several years now. We are a community of creators and dorks who love working together and creating free content for you to use. It's for you to listen to or watch podcasts and live streams of many different types. And so please check us out at nerdsmith.org. If you like the show and you want to continue supporting us directly, you can do so at Patreon, patreon.com/nerdsmith, and you can become one of our supporters. We have regular bonus content that comes out, and you will be directly allowing this show to exist. So we very much appreciate all of our patrons. We are also sponsored by several amazing companies that we really, really appreciate and are, a member of the extended Nerdsmith family. First of which is our newest, Eldritch Foundry. Eldritch Foundry is a really kick-ass character creator where you can get your figures printed and have little physical versions. They have a really lovely set of fantasy character art that you can use. There's a little bit of some other genres as well, but we used their engine to create our character art for this season. So you can see Beza and Harland in their glory. And we will be having some full color work soon, so I'm very excited about that. So you can check them out. We'll be sharing our character, full character models soon. So that you guys can actually go check out the links and see what they look like and spin them around and see all the little details that the players put in. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So that's eldritch-foundry.com. You should check them out. We put the link in chat. Our other two sponsors that we love very dearly, Die Hard Dice. Die Hard Dice makes beautiful polymer and metal dice sets. They've been a friend of this network for quite a long time, and we have nothing but the utmost admiration and love for the folks over at Die Hard. We wanted to talk about a particular set, though. As I said, they make polymer and metal dice, and all of their designs are really, really lovely, and they do a great job curating what their sets are. And right now, I wanted to talk about the Emerald Ore set. We're going to have a little bit of promotion for it coming up soon, but please check it out down in the link. And we have a code for you, and it's right on the screen right now, this very instant. If you use the code Nerdsmith-NOV, like November, N-O-V, you can get 10% off your total purchase on Die Hard. So please check out the Emerald Ore set. It's very pretty, and all the cool accessories and dice that Die Hard has to offer. Heather is showing off one of her metal sets, and it's beautiful. And as I like to say, it'll make your table feel bad about itself if you roll on it. So you should definitely get a dice tray to go along with it. They have beautiful dice trays, which I would get right now, but I would knock like 15 things over, so I'll be more prepared next time to show the dice tray. Thank you, Heather. That's a very nice one. So please check them out at dieharddice.com and roll with the best. Sorry, I have to do an old man voice when I do that.
What?
Call me old man. So does anyone remember Legend of Neil? I loved that show. Anyway, I can drink water like an adult. So our final but absolutely beloved sponsor, Wyld ANVIL. Wyld ANVIL is a world-class campaign management and fiction writing and world building software. It is a really amazing community that have just super fascinating ideas, lots of different worlds that you can go explore, and you can build one yourself for free to start. You get amazing features at the free level, but you get some very, very powerful tools and customization features if you decide to become a guild member with Wyld ANVIL. Their supporters get first-hand knowledge of what's coming out, new features on the site, and get to actually help influence the direction of new features. They are incredibly responsive, and they're constantly working on new features all the freaking time. I love being on their Discord because when I get pinged, I know there's something new and cool coming out. Demetrius doesn't believe me that I'm actually very excited when I get pinged with notifications. But you should definitely check them out at worldanvil.com, especially if you're doing NaNoWriMo this year. National Novel Writing Month is November, so you're 3 days in. How's your page count going? How's your word count? But you should check out Wyld ANVIL's relatively new fiction writing features. They really wanted to focus on actual writers and novelists, so there's a whole manuscripts section now in Wyld ANVIL, so you can write and publish your fiction directly on Wyld ANVIL. So if you want to make a world to go along with your novel that you're writing, you can put the novel pieces also on Wyld ANVIL if that is how you would like to release it. So please check them out. worldanvil.com and light up the forge. I need to come up with different narrator names or voices, I think, for the different promotional voices. But that's all I have for you. Good night, everybody. If you can't tell by my my lumberjack chic, we're not in the city anymore. But we will start our story now. Hey, 1,400 words is not that bad, Mouse. You're doing good. That's more than I'm not even doing it this month. Every month is novel writing month for me. I'm always writing. So we're going to start our story. Chapter 2 of Book of Faebles. When we last left our party, there were twice as many of you. You had
But
all...
they died.
Spoilers. You are a collection of youngsters who were sent to a reacclimation center, a place where the residents of, in this case, Chronogram 4, are sent when they don't quite fit into the plan set forth by the great celestial machine. for whatever reasons, you had all different reasons. Some of you didn't even know why you had been sent to the Reacclimation Center, but since we have Beza and Harland here in your particular cases, it was Harland causing some what seemed like chaotic random happenstances when you were around. Allegedly, when you were around vegetables and other natural elements. And Beza, your very existence is a little controversial. You were meant to be an automaton servant of your gnomish creator, and he dug too deep. Used some materials that resulted in you gaining full consciousness as a Goa, a person, actual and whole, and you don't know what your purpose is. So you are seeking that out. And you also had your friends with you, a goblin, one assumes, named Paru, sorry. I was in the middle of a pseudo sneeze. Paru, who had the attempted to abscond with several mushroom friends of hers from her family's farm, because mushrooms are friends, not food, to this particular little goblin. And you also had Oliette, a tiefling who, very bookish, very interested in learning and sharing knowledge with people, but not quite sure what she did to get here, which we will explore later. And then finally, a fifth member of your band, Vilain, who appeared to be a changeling, and they had been through this process before. An old-timer through the reacclimation system, and it just hasn't seemed to take for them. It has not seemed to have, really set in for them, and they seem to keep finding their way back into the reacclimation system. As you all met in your little group, you eventually, after having some food by the strictest definition, you found yourself working in the library. The library at the Reacclimation Center seems to be a repository of knowledge from all over the world, and you didn't get a lot of work done because of the organization system being very, very obtuse, very full of numbers and mathematical formulas that were hard to kind of sift through. But Paru managed to make a new friend, a little fire weasel that she fed, and it promptly ran away. You followed Paru and Vilain as they kind of wandered through the stacks, and you ended up in the restricted section of the library. Broke into might be a clearer way to say it. Yeah.
The door wasn't locked.
It's true. Well, it was. It just wasn't a key.
It was locked, sorta.
So Vilain was able to kind of tease out the secret to opening this gate, and you all went into the restricted section. What you were able to figure out while wandering through this darkened space was that there are several unusual things roaming the stacks of the library, and those unusual things, the fire weasel, the severed stone gargoyle hand, a errant mini storm cloud, those all seemed to have originated from inside several books in the collection. Very unusually, they have seemed to come to life, or jumped from the very pages. As you were investigating these odd little phenomenon, Paru started reading from a book off the floor. And as she read the book, the fairy tales that were within that book, she began to read out loud about the group of you in the library reading the book. And through that little recursive moment, you all woke up suddenly in a forest, in a clearing, unknown how you got there and where you actually are. But very quickly you found yourselves scoping out the area. Beza climbing a tree. Beza trying to climb a tree? What was the order? Paru tried to climb the tree, and then Beza climbed the tree.
Villain tried to climb it and fell.
Yeah. No, actually,
Yeah.
Villain started in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Just for clarification, he fell out of the tree because he started there. And so the group of you saw that you were in a vast wooded area, a forest. And in the distance were very tall mountains. There was a tower. Some of these things were fairly familiar based on Paru's reading of those stories that were in that book. Take of that what you will. And unfortunately, as you were getting your bearings and trying to decide what you were going to do with yourselves and how you were potentially going to try to get home, you were beset by a stampede of some kind of, what did you call them, Kyle? Bear bulls?
Bear bulls?
Bear bulls.
Bears that are bulls, or bulls that are
See,
bears.
I like them being bear gerbils. That's how I
yeah.
interpreted bear bull.
I would call those gerbears, but sure.
Gerbear. Oh, that's really good. Okay, fine. Bear bulls and gerbears. We will return to that nomenclature later. So you were beset upon by this stampede, and you were separated. The ground opened up from the weight of these creatures racing through the clearing and separating the group, and that's where we're going to begin. Beza and Harland, you were pushed to one side in an attempt to get out of the way of these massive, hairy, behorned creatures. They looked like bears with bull horns. How odd is that? But they almost had like a kind of like a huge hoof. It was very like four-legged minotaur, but with like a snout. It was really intense. And they were running in this massive group, like with the force of a train, through the woods, tearing trees down. It was so loud you couldn't even hear each other if you tried to shout to each other. And it lasted for a good 30 seconds. It was, there were a lot of them. And when the last straggler of these creatures stomps through the clearing, and you're left with just this echoing discomfort from it going from suddenly very, very loud to suddenly very, very quiet, you're able to get your bearings a bit.
What just happened?
It was like my cousins, but going up to the Elemis table. It was just madness. I don't know. Where are the others?
I don't know.
The clearing
I
is
don't-
empty.
I don't see any squishes on the ground, so I guess they're somewhere, right?
Well, that is good. I didn't even think of that. I should have looked there first.
As you both look to the ground, you see a little ways away a fissure, a sinkhole, a crevasse that is opened in the ground around where Oliet and Villain were standing. You don't see them, you don't see Paru. There is just a massive trench dug out from the hooves of these huge creatures, and across the trench you see a hole in the ground.
Well, that's not good.
No, I think our friends are dead.
Good night, everybody. We have a mercy rule. When 2/3 of the party are dead, we just end the campaign.
I mean,
What
I don't know.
So Harlan's gonna kind of wander up and up to the edge of the crevasse, and
Crevasse.
the crevasse, and kind of, use his toe to feel around at the edge of it, make sure that it's still solid, and just, hey down there, y'all,
Down there.
y'all doing okay? Y'all
okay?
still alive?
Still alive,
Someone's down there.
still
I can hear him. They sound a lot like me.
I don't want to stop that now.
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me. Sorry. I'm not sorry. That was amazing. You gotta get your kicks somehow as a DM, everybody. So, as you are, as you're looking down this this hole, it goes into darkness. It's you step around it a little bit, and dirt clumps kind of kick off, and they kind of down into the dark. And there's no real evidence of where they could have gone. It's just a void. You don't know how deep it goes, and it does not seem like it's very easily scalable.
Well,
Beza hasn't gone up near the edge because she's stone, so she doesn't want to push her luck. So how bad is it?
I know it's pretty dark down there. It could just be about 20 feet or so, but then it could be, about not that, like a lot more. It could be just they could be dead. I'm gonna go with dead.
Can you see the bottom?
You
Nope.
cannot.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to get everyone back if we can, but I don't know how we're gonna get down there.
Well, shoot. Maybe we can. Maybe we can. Get some of this plant matter and make a rope. I had a cousin who fell into some quicksand out in one of the bogs once, and we had to fashion a vine, a rope out of several leaves and twigs, and we wove them together, and then we threw them out into the pond. He was already drowned by the time that we finished, but it was a good strong rope.
I'm gonna ask. All right. Well, would one of those things hold me though?
I mean, sure, sure. I mean, sure. Yeah.
I don't like the question mark at the end of your sentence.
Well, I don't know. I haven't made the rope yet now, have I?
All right. Well, do you see any signs of Paru?
Are there any
Basil
mushrooms
starts-
around?
There are a couple stray mushrooms strewn upon the ground.
She got her wish. She finally turned into a mushroom.
They are near the hole.
I think she's dead too.
Oh no. Well,
Maybe we just make one of them ropes and just throw it down the hole, and so maybe they can climb themselves right back out of it. If the rope is long enough and reaches wherever they might be, and hopefully they have not broken any bones in their feet or legs or hands or head.
maybe we should look for a way down.
I mean, I could, the rope could, we could use it ourselves. And if they are there, then, great. If they are not, then we could just climb right back up and start heading the way that you had pointed out previously before that giant stampede came on through here.
All right. Well, I guess let's see if we can tie some things together so we can get down there and look.
Sounds good to me. So Harlan will start casting about, looking for appropriate plant matter to weave a vine or rope or something.
Great.
Same. Beza doesn't know how to do it, but she'll get stuff and hand it to Harlan.
Okay. Give me survival checks. as you go through and you sort of test the stability of vining and branches that you find. You're just trying to like sort of scavenge for fibrous materials you can use.
It would be an 18 for me.
Okay.
I'll know in a second.
Sure.
This is one of those times where it would be good if I had remembered when setting up my new computer that I should sign into this.
No problem. Well, Harland, you know how to scavenge for natural ingredients, and like you've been around forests before. Even in the farmlands, you understand how to sort of gauge what something could be used for, that you find growing around. For Beza, you look.
Modifier is a big ol' 0.
Yeah, you look around and it's like trees are wood. Wood's not rope. Grass
Brings
is.
you over like a stick. Will this work?
Sure. Yeah. We could use that to brace the end of the rope. That we can put that up between two other bigger sticks that I call trees, and lower it on down.
I mean, do you want me to start stacking rocks or something on top of the end so that it weighs it down for us?
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, that's very useful.
All right. And so she'll start
Okay.
looking around for rocks that she can put on top of the end of the rope.
It takes a little while.
With a 4.
With your
yeah.
4, rocks are rocks, not rope. So yeah, you go through, you kind of look around. So the clearing is mostly grassy. But, you walk around, you kind of brush away a bunch of the tall grass, and you find some stones. And you have to walk a little bit away from the clearing in order to find actual, like, small boulder sort of sized things that you'd be able to use for that. There is what maybe looks like a decrepit wall, only a few feet of it though. It's not a ton, but it's a bunch of flat, heavy rock. And you actually take a few off the top and can see that, well, these will work for that. So yeah, you take a couple of passes back and forth. Again, it takes a few minutes, but you do end up with a bunch. Harland, you find that in these trees there is actually very substantial vining. It kind of really, really thick ivy. It's got beautiful leaves on it, but the stems and the vining that it's actually attached to is very tough and has kind of gnarled and like latched onto the tree that it's growing off of. It actually takes quite a bit of effort to get this vining off of the trees, but the fact that it takes that much effort, it gives you pretty strong confidence that this might be fashionable into a rope. So you can get pretty much as much within reason and as much length as you want to try for.
If he's spending about 10-20 minutes collecting it, then I imagine the target 50 to 100 feet.
Sure, something between there. So you aim for the higher just in case.
Yep.
You don't want to undershoot. So we'll say that you pulled up about 100 feet of rope, and you just got this giant pile of very leafy vine in your hand. You just kind of thunk, drop it on the ground, and you and Beza set about working on. So what is it that you're putting together? Like what sort of setup are you dealing with?
So as they're working, it's like, so I've got about 3 little sisters, and I was taught at a very young age how to do what is called an Elvish braid. So you take this one.
What's the
and you
braid?
put it, it's something that you do with your hair to keep it out your face, and sometimes it looks real pretty if you do some like stuff with it. I don't much know about it. I just know what.
My hairstyle's made out of stone. I don't usually have to do anything with it.
Usually.
I got that up there. I don't have much, but it's enough to keep me warm in the winter. But it's yeah. So you take this piece and you put it over this piece, and then you take this other piece and you put it in between those two pieces, and you just keep going back and forth like that, and you just kind of weave it together, like you're making a very very narrow blanket.
So I'm basically just tangling it.
Yeah, but in a very specific way.
Tangling with a purpose.
It's like an orderly tangle. Miss Janet would love it.
Not encouraging.
I just know that it's going to be strong, and it's going to get us to where we need to be. That's all I know.
All right. So this one goes over this one.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. And that one, and then that one on that one, that side goes towards the middle, and then that one, you basically always putting the thing in your hand towards the middle of whatever you're working on, and it makes this nice like thingamajig.
This has been Handicrafts with Harland.
Tune in next
All
week
right.
for underwater basket weaving.
It doesn't have to breathe, sure.
She'd actually be pretty good at that. So yeah, so you braid a bunch of these vines together. Basically, you kind of get the hang of it after Harlan is showing you things. Definitely examples are had, so yeah, you're able to.
At some point, you have no idea how.
So you end up with so we're gonna say you ended up with about 80 to 100 feet of braided vine. So you had enough material to make that much rope. That's a lot. You did a very good job. And then you use the stones to sort of weigh down and affix the rope to the trees. Is that what you're thinking, or?
Yeah. Yeah. If leave the end of the vine kind of separated, we can tie those like three ends around,
Sure.
and then the rocks can be piled on top of the end of that to kind of give it additional weight.
Okay. So yeah, you set up that system. You have the ropes all tied up, and occasionally, Harlan, you yelled back down the crevasse to see if anything changes. Still don't hear anything. And you drape the vining rope into the hole. So you drop it down, and it's kind of hard to tell if it hit bottom. So you're just gonna have to kind of, if you're gonna go down, you're just gonna have to kind of see what happens. So are you just gonna go start heading down? Are you gonna do anything to test that distance? One of you gonna go down to check it, or like what would you like to do to proceed?
Yeah, something I can think is that you're kind of a small. I don't mean to talk about your figure, but you're kind of small. You're just a little fella. I could pull this rope back up and tie it around you, and then lower you down, and that way it'd be nice and slow, and you wouldn't be falling, and you could just kind of holler back up at me and see what you see, and but see what there is to see, and if they're dead down there, then you can confirm that.
You see 3 bodies.
I mean, all right, we could try that. But I weigh more than I look, though. This is solid stone, and she like taps herself on the chest.
Well, I mean, if you're real strong, you could lower me down. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, that may not work either.
Well,
I mean, I'm supposed to be a bodyguard, but he designed me to be small and fast, not so much big and strong,
Right. Okay. Well, then we're probably just gonna need to climb on down then. So I'm on. I could go down first, and then I could just holler back up at you, and then you could say, oh, for sure, that's good, and then keep an eye out and make sure those giant things don't come back and knock y'all in the pit and kill you too.
Yeah, that I can do.
Okay. So Harlan, you're gonna head down?
Yep.
All right. So you start heading down. What's your strength?
I have. Do you need the modifier or the modifier is 0?
Okay. So do you have any experience climbing ropes? Like, you figure?
Probably,
or at least hauling
like
your body
swings.
Weight. Okay.
Yeah,
So
probably
like,
more rope swings.
I wish there was a knot here, but I will say that these ropes are. You might have stripped the leaves off for some of it, but there's still like sort of natural curves in this. This is not like a manufactured rope that's like super smooth all the way down. So you occasionally find a foothold and you kind of like sit. Okay, next, and then you start climbing again a little bit. Find the next foothold, and so you slowly but surely make your way down this rope. You try to sort of count out your paces to figure out how far down you've gone, but you do hit, like, you start heading, like, you put your foot down to get to the next section of rope, and there's nothing there. You're like, okay, I hit the bottom. And you do you have dark vision?
I don't think so.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Faebles
features
did.
and traits.
I don't.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So as you're climbing down, the only light coming out is from the hole above. So you're only getting light from the sky out, the sort of that warm forest light. And as you continue climbing down a little, it is oppressively dark, like very quickly. So you're kind of just like going by feel, which is a little disorienting. And it's very echoey in the space. You don't hear a lot at first. But as you get to the bottom of the rope and you kind of feel, oh, there's nothing there, you sort of hold on a little, maybe get your foot back up on that last knot that existed. And you're not sure how far down it goes. Like, you can't see, and the rope is dangling. So you could be 5 feet from the bottom. You could be 500 feet from the bottom, but you're not sure. There is a bit of a breeze, so you know this space is big enough that there is some airflow.
Holding on, he will holler back up. Hey, Beza, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Grab not one of them big rocks, but a smaller rock, and just kind of just chunk it down here. Like, just let it fall. We'll see if I can hear if there's anything down there.
All right. You want me to aim that right next to you, right?
That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, okay. Give me 1 second.
Okay. You check a rock down?
A rock down, and I make sure I'm several feet over from where he's standing.
Sure.
Or climbing.
So you assess sort of, okay, the rope's going to be down there. You take 3 big steps the other way, and you drop. You don't throw, you drop it. And so Harlan, you see up, and you can see Beza planning to drop it a ways away from you. So she drops it. You kind of can you see the stone for a little bit, coming down at you, and it comes, you kind of hear the whoosh of it coming past, and almost immediately it hits ground. Or at least you hear a thud. Very, very close to you.
Just guesstimating based off of that noise, a safe distance down.
It's a safe distance down. It's almost a laughably safe distance down.
Right. So he'll like kind of let his foot go below the foothold and kind of try to use his upper body strength to like lower himself down on the
Give
rope.
me an
Like just basically
athletics
like
check.
an athletics check. Oh boy.
Can you lift
Just
your
a
body
straight die roll.
You wanted rolls. I'm giving you
That's
rolls.
a nat 20. Thank you, D&D Beyond.
Oh man, I wish you had failed that. It would have been very funny for you to have dropped 2 feet and then fallen on your butt. But instead, you deftly sort of slowly lower yourself down, and 2 handholds down, you hit rock. And you've got the rest of the rope in your hand, and you feel your feet are solidly on the ground.
Well, Baza, I got good news and I got bad news.
All right.
The good news is that I'm not killed.
What's the bad news?
They're not killed either. They're not here. Is my point. They're not here. They're not down here.
You don't hear any voices. You haven't tried calling out to anyone, but you haven't.
Nope.
You haven't heard anything, and there's nothing you can see.
Nope.
All right, I gotcha. So, but all right. Well, the not killed part, that's good and bad, because it's good that they're not dead, but it's bad because now we have to go find them.
Right. Well, it occurs to me that I should check down here and see if they're actually not here. They just weren't here where I put my foot down, and it's very dark, and I cannot see. So,
Do you need
y'all,
a
if
light?
you are down
Like,
here,
light on fire or something?
I sure wish I'd have thought of that before I got down here.
You want me to toss you a stick?
I mean, could you light it on fire first?
What?
Another stick? You just hold them together and rub them real fast.
Are you sure you didn't hit your head going down?
Listen, I've never made a fire. It's always been the elders. They wouldn't let me play with fire.
Right. Can't imagine why.
Me either. I was always wondering when am I going to be old enough to play with fire? And they're like, when you're older. And I just never knew when older was going to be old enough.
So
I can't hear you.
let me see what I can figure out. I forgot to push to talk pedal.
It's okay.
So Ange,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that we don't have any of our adventuring gear yet.
Not yet. You
Okay.
have anything you had on your person that you mentioned during the first episode. You have your jumpsuit, your hat, and the food that you put in your little arm or whatever compartment. We hadn't determined where it was, I don't think.
Okay. I don't think I have any. Well, I guess we never really discussed what my swords are made out of, but other than that, I don't know that I'm
Sure.
gonna.
They're generic fantasy metal. I don't know. They're not super special, but they're finely crafted, but they're not adamantine. Okay.
Right. No, I assumed that, but
So steel.
One would assume
Steel.
some
I just
equivalent,
flipped.
some equivalent of steel.
All right. Well, let me try. I guess let me try looking for some sticks and stuff at least to get started there. I don't know how I'm gonna light it on fire yet, but I'll see what I can do.
Oh, you're a smart cookie. I think you'll figure it out. I'm just gonna shuffle around down here with my feet, and just try to feel if they are killed or not, because they're
Alright.
sure not
You know-
responding.
I know I was created and sculpted and all that, but I'm not technically a cookie.
Do you sculpt cookies? I guess
I
you.
mean,
I guess you're cookie cutters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She's like 36 hours old,
I understand.
people.
I assumed you were at least a day or two, but sure.
36 hours is like a day and a half.
Oh man.
I am not quite sure how to respond to that.
I get that a lot. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, y'all, you down here? It's getting a little. It's getting a little. I'm a little tired being down at the bottom of this dark pit, and if you're down here, I'd sure would appreciate you piping up.
Harlan.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Just let me see what I can figure out for like a torch situation.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna go look for a stick on the ground somewhere. You said we're in a clearing, so she's probably
Yeah.
gonna have to go look at it.
Give me
And-
another survival check for you. I mean, failure could be funny. So that's why
I
I'm
got
happy.
18.
Yay!
Accidentally hit the rock and it sparks.
There you go. Ow. Okay, that'll work. So you look through the rocks you collected, and there are a couple that are small enough, and you vaguely get the sense that you could start a fire. So yeah, you managed to collect some moss. I mean, you've got a lot of the grass, so there's probably some dead grass or some dry grass that you can collect. And you kind of go check out. Luckily, the bear bulls have trampled a lot of dirt up, so you have some spaces that you might not light the entire forest on fire if you try to set something on fire.
All right. She's gonna test it so that she can try to figure out if any of the rocks are gonna work.
Yeah, sure. After a little bit of trial and error, you are able to take a little bit of some of the extra vining, which is sort of, some of it is a little drier. It was the stuff you couldn't use for the rope. And you could knot them together and sort of makeshift with a stick and some of this vining knotting. You could makeshift a torch that if you set a little bit of it on fire and you kind of like try to add a little, you have to work a little. You're not used to breathing, but you can like fan a little bit on the, you're like trying to get this fire to go, and yeah, so you have a little bit of a torch. It's very
right.
meager, but it's there. Might not last dropping just from the wind, but it's
Okay.
there.
I'm gonna put the stone that actually worked in my little compartment
Sure.
so I can pull it out again. I do want to try one thing.
Mhm.
Is the meat that I still have in there oily at all?
Ugh.
But like
Yes.
jerky.
Yes. I mean,
All right.
well, it wasn't in the it was in the dehydrator, but there is sort of a coating on it that's a little gross.
Okay. So she wants to take a small piece of that and put it in the little mini fire she made just to see if it catches well at all.
It's upsetting, but yes, it does catch a little on fire.
Sorry.
Oh, I just mean for anyone who would be consuming it, it would have been upsetting, but no one's here to look at it, so you're fine. You think nothing of it.
I think I got a plan. Give me 1 second, Harland. And she grabs a bunch of like the dead grass and a bunch of the any vines that are dried that we didn't use.
Sure.
And it fills her hat.
Okay. So you have this sort of beanie full of, it's very stretched to the edge, like to the limits. It's one of those one size fits all sort of things, and it can get pretty big, but you are sort of reaching the end of its elasticity.
That's fine. She fills that up,
Mhm.
and then she drags over some of the bigger sticks she found that she was going to use for the torches. Watch out above! And she drops the sticks down, trying to not hit him. But
Okay.
if he moves, she doesn't see it.
You hear that? There's movement, there's shadow, and you can choose to step quickly out of the way, Arland.
He will go back over to the rope
Okay.
in the
That's
back in the
fair.
direction that he shuffled.
Okay. So yeah, you shuffle back to the rope. You have your hand out like this, trying to find the rope, and you find it. You catch it, and you hear behind you just the clattering of sticks impacting the ground, and wool, the cushion of a wool hat. It's very specific.
All right, give me 1 minute. And the torch that she did light when she was practicing and figuring out what was going to work, she just puts it in her mouth.
Okay. Sure.
Like Rose style, because she doesn't have to breathe anyway. Yeah. And starts climbing down the rope.
Who cares if there's smoke in your face? This is where that song "Smoke in Your Eyes" came from. So you slowly, you're just like you've got like the grip. You've got enough of a grip strength that it's almost like rock climbing pulleys, where you're just like you're letting go. You're not causing a lot of friction, or rather there is friction, but you're like it doesn't hurt that much, and you're just like.
My strength is a +0, but my athletics is a +2.
Yeah. So you're built for this kind of chicanery. So you slide down the rope and you impact the ground with a bit of a. Harlan, you saw that she was coming down the rope, so you were able to like take a step back. And it is now the two of you down here. Beza, your torch did survive. You were trying to be careful. Not to completely douse it with moving air, and so you do have a little bit of dim light around you now. Harlan, you can actually see. So the two of you are in you see the ground pretty easily now. It is dirt and rock and craggy. Harlan, you actually see that a few feet away from where you had been wandering in the dark, there was a sudden steep decline that also seemed to be more crushed stone, more rock, and it looks to be an adjacent crevasse, another sort of crumble in the ground deeper, was where you just stepped. Beza, you have your torch, and with your single torch, you kind of look around and see what else is about. And a few, maybe like 20, 30 feet away from you, there is a tunnel. You see that this tunnel is a little hard to gauge where it goes at this point. It does seem to be angling downward a little bit. You look around in another direction, and there's another tunnel. It is sort of decaying. It's not as well... well kept is a weird way to put it, but it definitely looks like it's starting to collapse. Not as, let's say, not as welcoming a tunnel system. And then there's more of this room, this cavern. It's a fairly big space. You could probably spend quite a bit of time looking around it. But you do note the two tunnels, and Harlan has seen the continual drop down.
All right. Well, I guess maybe let's figure out more light first and then search this place before we go to another one.
Well, yeah, I think, if I take a couple minutes and take some of these things that you knocked down here and make a couple more torches, just so we have them available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these things burned pretty well, but I had a feeling that you might have a better idea of how to put them together to make them burn. Oh, this burns too. And she pulls out the meat brick thing.
I was wondering what smelled so good, but now
torches.
It is that is genius. I mean, we could probably do that at one of the county fairs.
I was thinking if we wrapped some of this in with the grasses and things, it might burn pretty well, and it'll smell better.
Now, see,
for you,
that is very possible. I would prefer that we keep it because it might serve a different purpose in the future, in that I will not have to starve if we are down here a while.
Agoa thinking we could just burn the food.
I have this too. And she pulls out her square zucchini because she didn't feed hers to the fire weasel. So, I have these for later if you're hungry. I don't have any water though. I guess this kind of has water in it. And she holds up the zucchini.
I mean, yeah. Push comes to shove, I hope we're not down here that long. We can always go back up and find like a river or something.
Yeah, we gotta figure out a way to mark our trail so we don't get lost.
Well, as long as we have light, we
Use
can,
the
you know.
jerky.
Yeah, we can.
Sorry. It's the bad
So
idea
the-
voice that comes
Works
with
on
every
the
so
stinky cheese man version of Hansel and Gretel.
Oh. The oily jerky man.
No, I'm sad. I'm sad that just happened.
I'm not. You're welcome.
Mhm.
Oh, note for later. Jerky man.
The stinky jerky man. Yeah. So, yeah, it'll take a few minutes to make a few more torches and wrap the moss around the sticks and try to affix it as best as possible. And he'll take some of like some strips from his. It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Take some strips from like the sleeves of the drab gray uniform
Yeah.
that is being forced to wear. Just like kind of tear bits of it off and wrap that around.
Just takes off her entire outfit and hands it to you.
Yeah,
Oh
you've
my.
been wearing. You've been. Harland, you see that Beza is. Well, you don't see. You covered your eyes. Beza, you remember that like humans. Sometimes it takes a second for mortals to remember that you aren't. You're wearing clothes on your sculpt.
Holland, it's all right. You don't have to worry about it. I was sculpted. I'm not what do you call that? What did they say it was? Anatomically correct.
I'm sure those words mean something to someone, but you aren't naked as a jaybird, and I do not wish to.
I don't have anything to be naked.
I believe you mean a G-bird.
She moves your hand. There and
Harlan-
she's like Ken doll anatomically nothing there.
Well, but don't you also have clothes in your sculpt as well? Or are you
Probably. There's
yeah.
probably something in her sculpt.
Yeah, so
It's fine.
you see that Beza has been sculpted as a person with clothing in some fashion. We'll figure out the actual sculpt. So
It may
she's
be
not
anything
indecent. She's decent.
to look like everybody else. I don't
Right,
actually need
okay,
it.
Well, that ain't so bad. All right.
Sorry, I forgot to say anything.
It's quite all right. I just did not want to.
It's all right. Just use
So
the
torches.
materials. We're fine.
So torch.
Yeah, torches. Yeah, we'll make those.
So you said about you have a very sound plan for building torches. The sleeves work beautifully. It's almost like that. It's almost like these could have served a better purpose as parts of a torch than an actual outfit.
The starch on them really just catches
Oof.
really well.
Like you're actually kind of worried for the safety measures and the back at the reacclimation center. These just light up. They want to be on fire.
That's why the cook wasn't wearing nothing under his apron.
He had pants on. So yeah, so you set up a bunch of torches. The ground is just, you find some soft areas of the ground. You actually can like press a couple of them into the ground if you choose to light them all. If you're just trying to make a grouping of them that you can use later, you've got a handful of these torches, and you can hold on to them and then just sort of pass the fire along as you go.
Yeah, I think just having one lit for now
Okay.
probably be okay. And then
Each of you have one lit, so you've got sort of a bit of view.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes the most sense. And then save the rest because
Sure.
once we run out of material, we're out of material.
Yeah, so Beza, you are using the old one that you had, so you're going to use that until it goes out. But Harlan, you got one of the newer ones, which actually burns a little brighter, so that's very helpful. You you get a chance to actually start like pacing this, room, quote unquote. And the cavern seems to be it looks like it's collapsing in many different places. It kind of seems like the ground in this area is not secure to begin with. That the bear bulls might not have been so disruptive that they caused the earth to fissure and break underneath you. More that the ground was just kind of waiting for an excuse to break. And it seems as though the cavern has collapsed in several places long before what happened on the surface. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not there was anything in these spaces. Though, Harland, are you from a fishing
Farming community.
Farming community, okay. You know what erosion looks like, though. You kind of are looking around and you start noticing in the walls, it seems like something was wearing these down, something natural, whether that's air or wind or some sort of natural force was working against these walls, and may have been what was here before. I'm giving you a lot here. We're gonna just say you're decent at nature, I assume. So yeah. Maybe a little, maybe. So yeah, you get a sense that there might have been something here previously. This could have been like water. This could have been there could have been some sort of like gas moving in through here, air, wind, something. And that something has worn down this area enough that it is a little not super stable. As you're walking around, there's a couple of spots that you have to like back away from because you're feeling a little like, oh, that's moving. I don't want that. And so you back up a little bit and you try to find a different way around. You do find a couple of other declines into the ground, deeper. Similar to what you saw on the surface. It's sort of it's sort of part of the ground broke and is leaning down, and then there's just like a sheer cliff that goes down into deeper darkness that you can't see past. So there are lots of places that your friends could have ended up down here if they're not in this room. Any
like signs of travel, like recent travel through the area, like footprints or
give me a survival, because you're trying to track at this point. You're looking. Give me investigation, not survival.
Okay.
You're now sort of scouring around for evidence of life. We'll say that's what you're doing.
Cool. Yes, he is doing that.
Well,
a 6.
Okay. Okay, so here's what happens. You're going around and looking at the walls like, wow, this dirt real interesting. These rocks real interesting. Oh, I should have looked and see if they looked around. And you turn around and your footprints are everywhere. You have basically been shuffling in an attempt to be careful when you realize that some of the ground wasn't stable. And when you look around, there are just furball prints everywhere. If you wanted to, you could not find a different footprint than your own. You're like, wow, there was a stampede of furbolgs in this room at one point recently.
Hey, Beza, I don't think they came through here.
There's no evidence of that now.
All right, should we check the other tunnel?
Yeah, if there's nothing that would indicate that they had gone a different route, somehow, if there was some sign that had not been disturbed by others.
All right. I look for mushrooms.
Yeah. Okay. You are looking around the ground. You kind of you give me an investigation check too. see how you go about looking for mushrooms.
It's not horrible considering I have no modifier.
Mhm.
14.
Okay, yeah. You think, looking for mushrooms. How do mushrooms grow? Mushrooms grow on walls sometimes. Mushrooms grow in the dark, which is satisfied here. Sort of. So you kind of go through your head like, what do mushrooms do? And thank you, thank you, Kyle. So you I really should have put the chat in the frame, but I didn't think of it. So you glance around on sort of the edges, the edge corners of the room, like the lower corners, and you're kind of like following the walls, and you you see it's interesting. It's not mushrooms, but it is like fungal. You see this kind of, I hesitate making this reference, but you'll get the reference eventually. I'm sure Kyle will. Anyway, so you start seeing this kind of like really thin, sheer, spongy material. It's very, very, it's like almost like a fabric, but it's got very organic, sort of like cell pattern kind of thing as it's the way it's growing, and it sort of started climbing up the wall and around one of the rocky surfaces. It's this kind of like orangey yellow color. Kyle gets it, okay. Anyway, so you see this kind of fungal growth, not like little mushroom caps, but sort of in the ballpark of what you're looking for, and it's growing through down the wall towards the less kept, the more collapsing tunnel.
Heather has concern.
Tessa got the reference too. That's fun.
Hey Harland, is this mushrooms?
I mean, what's it look like?
Just come over here and look. I don't know how to describe it. I'm like a day old.
Right. Well, all right. So Harlan will try to step back through the footprints that he's already made.
They're like an old family circus cartoon. They're just like they're kind of meandering around. But you are able to do that. You're careful. If you make a misstep and feel the shake, you're like, oh, okay, let's try that again, and you back up. You get back to where Beza is. You follow the dull torchlight that she's using. So yeah, you see this similar sort of, it's almost like a sheet over some of the rocky wall. It's growing vertically and across the wall.
You said that it was like cells? Like what?
Yeah, it's not holes, because there's like, not to like, content warning, we're talking fungal growth and organically created holes. And anyway, so I have that, so I'm just trying to like figure out how to describe it. So it's like where the shapes are almost like, let's say they're octagons. They're like sort of really rough shaped octagons in a big pattern, and there's just a really very, very paper thin coating of this material in the cells, and then there's just sort of webbing of this yellowy orange fungal growth everywhere else. So it's just that kind of pattern. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a really poor job explaining this one.
So Harlan will take the end of his torch and kind of like scrape a little bit.
Sure.
And see if like
it takes a little. It's a little tough. It's actually pretty. It's actually pretty strong. But you are able to kind of tear into it, and it sort of flops. Like the piece sort of flops. It's it's moist. Like it's not wet. But the point is, it has moisture in it. It is a sort of spongy material. It's like silly putty. like someone stretched silly putty. It's that kind of texture when you like, it doesn't snap, but you know.
It's like on the back side, there's just like New York Times.
Yeah,
says-
it's weird. There's a Family Circus cartoon in the back.
What
The
is it?
Family Circus. No, don't laugh at that. Go ahead. Thank you
It was
for
good.
Go ahead.
It is something, I am sure. So, maybe they went down here. There's one more trick I can try, and he's gonna just hold the torch out in front of him, and just look at the flame, and just try to see if there's like, you said that there was a breeze earlier when he was in the tunnel, so he's like just trying to catch where that breeze might be coming from.
Okay. Okay, I want two things. First of all, you stare at this and you're gonna get a blind spot and not be able to see in the dark anymore for a little bit. Second of all, give me a perception check.
Okie doke.
You're trying to see if you notice changes.
13.
13? Okay. You're watching the flame, you're trying to see if it's like kind of getting brushed in a certain direction, and you sort of see it. Okay, so you do get a sense of like there is a little bit of a gust going in a particular direction. It is pushing towards that decrepit tunnel. Just a little.
Pushing towards it, which means that the breeze is coming from the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of coming like up and down. Like it seems like it almost is like coming from up the surface. Like maybe there's just a bit of a draft coming in because of the giant hole that's now there.
Oh, fair. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm getting real unsettled down here about all this. I don't know what made that, and I don't know what is causing all of this rock to just be all like, you know, all crumbly like a dirt pie. But how much longer you want to search for them down here? You think we're gonna find them?
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily want to just give up, but I don't see any signs of them either. Although, if Paru fell down here, she'd probably follow this because it's kind of like a mushroom.
Can I please get a perception check from both of you?
Uh-oh.
I really should get your passives. I was just dumb and didn't have them in front of me. It's a 5? Okay.
15 for me.
God.
Harland, you notice that where you tore at the fungus, there was almost like a little bit of a, like, I mean, it was a physical movement of you sort of tearing, and there's a bit of a ripple because it's spongy. And out of the corner of your eye, you see the ripple again, and the ripple is like coming back from, like, instead of kind of radiating out, you see it radiate back to that spot that you had cut. And there is a sudden, very quick, very delicate of spore, dust, stuff that comes out of that hole that you cut. So I'm going to ask each of you a question, and I want you to describe it to the best of your ability. Okay? Tell me about a time that you remember, your character remembers, being intensely curious about something that you didn't know. Whether that's something you're seeing or something you're thinking about, anything like that. However you want to interpret it. And just, like, set the scene for me really simply.
So there was this time that Harland and some of his friends had fallen down a hill, or fallen down into a hole, and he had made some vine rope and gone down into that hole and found some like really fibrous, kind of mushroomy looking like paper like stuff. And
Yeah,
had
tell me
torn
more,
it.
smartass. No, that's fine. If that is a potent moment of curiosity and the unknown, that's fine.
I think, yeah, because like in above, like anything that he could see and go look at, he could just do it.
Yeah.
And then like that moment would be sated, where like
Sure.
this is actually like gnawing at him. This is like the first time that he's had that like real like, I can't quite reach that itch and figure out what that is.
Sure. Beza, what do you have a moment like that? Is it this moment or is it something else?
I mean, I definitely think this moment is a curiosity for her.
Sure.
I think for her, though,
Mm-hmm.
her biggest curiosity would probably have been when the authorities came to take her to the reacclimation center, because she still doesn't fully understand or know exactly what she did or what is so wrong about her existence that everyone freaked out completely.
Sure.
Like, she understands she wasn't part of the plan, but she really hasn't been explained what the hell any of that means.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's what happens. This dust blows into your face, and it's just, oh god.
I don't breathe.
You don't breathe. That's a good point, but I'll get to you. Harlan. My fake sneeze turned into a real yawn. So Harlan, you inhale this dust, and you just sneeze. And Beza, you have these spores. I hadn't thought about it.
Poison?
No, they're not poison. They're not poison.
Okay.
Fuck. I didn't even think about it. You know what? I'm just gonna say it works. It's fine. It's sudden dust. It's in your face. It touches your skin. We'll say that's enough. So Harland, you sneeze, and at that moment of sneeze, you get this sort of flash in your vision, and you experience again in like sort of a third person view all the things that you had experienced just now, but like really that feeling you were experiencing, that curiosity, that dread, that unknowing, that is so potent in your head. You're feeling, you're remembering that moment, but you're remembering it through a filter of like almost pure emotional reaction. Even all the specific details are a little vague, but you're feeling how you felt. Beza, you also have this moment without the sneeze of the sort of flash of that image of several armed, uniformed, sort of faceless soldiers, and being taken away. You remember your maker, whether he caused a ruckus or just sort of let it happen. And you feel that sense of like, why? What is this? What's happening? I don't understand. All of that is sort of rushing back to you. And as you both independently have these experiences of like very intense emotional memory, you sort of have another sort of, your vision clears and there's that dust a little bit around you, but you're back in the cavern.
What was that?
I do not. I am not. I think it smelled like a sneeze, and since it made me remember stuff, I think that might be what they call a reminiscent.
Good night, everybody. God damn it. Kyle, take inspiration. I hate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No,
I ain't got no idea what that was, but I don't think that it was trying to harm us immediately. But
Yeah, you both feel fine. It was disorienting, but like nothing physically feels off.
I mean,
Was
that
it? Was it one of those like defense mechanism things that they talk about?
I mean, probably. I mean, I just scab up if I get scraped. But this thing, it sneezed at us, so it made us sneeze. That seems pretty appropriate.
What is scab?
Ew. We're fast forwarding that conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. But she doesn't know.
I don't want to know Harlan's answer to that question.
No, you don't.
That's an example of a safety tool, everybody. Fast forwarding.
Case in point. But that seems to be where the breeze was coming from. So, I mean, I think we move forward past it, but just be careful not to break it again.
All right.
Okay. So do you just continue walking towards that tunnel?
As long as the ground doesn't seem like it's like disintegrating too badly.
It seems pretty stable.
Too badly.
It seems
Of course,
pretty
it
stable.
couldn't be the nice looking tunnel. It had to be this one.
It had to be the interesting tunnel. Of course it did. So the two of you, with your torches in hand, start following along the wall where the sneezing fungus decided to make itself known. And it is continuing in its sort of wallpapering of the wall down the tunnel. It kind of, the tunnel's a bit, it's a little rounded off. And you kind of see that the fungus is like a little bit on the ceiling, but it's mostly sticking to one side. It's kind of doing this little like wavy thing. It's very organic, the way it's growing across, just kind of finding its purchase where it can. And you see on the edges of this sort of fungal growth, you see little neither of you know mushrooms very well, and Angela forgets the term for it, but the mushroom equivalent of roots. So you see these little tendrils kind of not symmetrically sort of clawing. Like you see where the fungus is either anchoring itself or is beginning to grow further along the walls, and that's sort of what's on the edges, the border of this. Thank you. Kyle does know this. Good job.
I had to Google it.
I
thought it was mycelium, but
yeah,
I had to
that was in
Google
my
it.
head. But thank you for the I. I didn't know the I in the mycelium part. So you see these little tendrils, and you can follow this this fungal growth for quite a ways. It takes several minutes of wandering. Do you keep your distance from the fungus, or do you stay near it as you're following it? Do you try to like keep, like, I can see it in the light, that's close enough, as you go down the tunnel?
So.
Okay. So you watch yourself. You watch yourself, fungus. I see you.
I think it's keeping the torch in between him and the fungus as well. It's like if it's gonna shoot spores at me, it's got to do it through a fire, and you get flour in the air and it gets real loud. So you don't want to do that, and I don't think it'll do that.
Mm-hmm. So Beza and Harland, as you continue walking down this this tunnel, it seems to kind of meander in a couple of different ways. It doesn't it's not like a very straight tunnel. And there's a couple of little alcoves, little like almost little cul-de-sacs you find in some of the path, like little outcroppings in this tunnel system. Harland, as you're holding your torch sort of between you and the fungus, you see, again, it's very uniform, the way that, like, rather, let me clarify. You see a sort of form pushed out under the fungus, like almost a figure It's like a weird like lumpy thing, but it's definitely not just the rock, or if it is, the rock just made a really weird shape.
Is
A few feet ahead of you.
the shape like the ripple that he'd seen?
No, it's stationary.
Hey, Beza. You see that right there?
The big lumpy section?
Yeah, right. Does it look like there might be someone behind that? There might be a people in there.
Does it look vaguely humanoid shaped?
Sure. Yeah, there's like a lumpy part on the top and like lumpy parts in the middle, and then different lumpy parts on the bottom. Like, yeah,
that's yeah. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck,
right? It kind of it's kind of reminiscent of the map of the U.S. The Chef. It's that. It's like lumpy, but in the approximate right places to be a person.
See, that's Iowa right there.
All right. I mean, I guess it might be. All right. How far away can we get from the fungus after we damage it?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean like how far across is the tunnel?
Yeah.
It's probably
like if it's
like
on
15.
one wall, how far
It's like
away
15
is the
feet
wall?
over. It's a pretty big
And
one.
how far did the spores spray?
You couldn't tell. You were in the very immediate vicinity, though. Like, you were right up on it, so it's hard to tell how far it went. I mean, when you came to, it was probably 5-foot radius.
Okay.
Says the
All right,
helpful
well,
voice in your head.
Yeah. If I cut this off, and she flips one of her blades out, I can cut it off, but we should back up as far as we can go to the other side of the tunnel if we do it.
Well, you know that it like poofed after a ripple, and so we have until that ripple comes back before it'll poof again. So I think we got a second or two, you know, to do what we do. So if you stand on one side and I stand on the other side, and we both just kind of like you ever seen someone rip a tablecloth off a table and leave all that stuff on the table? Like it's like a real neat trick. I've tried it a few times, but after the third set of china.
I don't know what any of that just meant, but I can't give you one of my blades. They're kind of attached.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's fine. I just you know, the end of the torch worked pretty good last time, so I'll just do that.
All right, and I'll cut on this side.
How close are you getting to the fungus to do this? Are you already? Were you discussing this while you were up on it, like up on the? No, you're a ways away. Okay. You just tell me when you're like, if you get actually close enough to inspect what you're looking at, or if you're just gonna cut from a distance and hope for the best.
I say we got to like the count of 4. We go 1, run up, cut, pull, 2, 3, 4, and get away.
All right, sounds good.
I'm glad that you understood, because as I was saying it confused me.
I love it.
All right, well, let's just do what we can, and we'll hope that everything works out all right.
Right.
Okay, walk me through what you're doing.
1, and he'll run up and like dig the torch in and try to tear it off the wall.
So you both lunge forward and attack the fungus around this figure, and you go, and it tears. It's like cutting Play-Doh. It's goopy, but it works. You know, you get like a plastic knife and you goof off. You make pizza and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking
spaghetti and meatballs.
It's fine.
I gotcha.
So you cut, and then do you leap away once you do that? Okay.
Yeah.
So you and you jump out, and there's that big ripple away, and then sort of that ripple happens real quick this time, and you see a literally like that noise, and there's just this cloud of dust that just sort of fills a little further than you were expecting, but you guys made some much bigger cuts this time. But you are able to kind of stay a little back. Harlan, you hold your breath a little.
And the torch out, like,
and the torch
literally,
out,
like,
hoping like maybe it's flammable.
Like, burn off some. Yeah.
And you just hear from the figure, and you kind of like see two arms kind of stretch, and there's big knobby hands with claws. Just kind of.
That was about what I was expecting, but not quite what I was expecting.
That's not one of our friends.
And coming through, like, it's still, the person's still completely coated on the front with this fungus. But as it, like, its neck kind of creaks forward a little long, and as it, like, turns around and kind of, like, you see this very stark beak, like, short, but beak-like. And you hear from, in a very, like, deep sort of place, Gura was taking nap. Who interrupt Gura? And the figure, like, reaches behind its shoulders and just kind of, you hear kind of like a pop, and it steps forward, and there's like it was round on the back, and it had been like lodged into the dirt on the wall, and you just see this like lumbering, like he kind of like smears and there's just this really craggy turtle face, and the fungus is sort of growing on their head and down their shoulders, and they have like their sort of shell on the front, and kind of just lumbers forward and blinks a little bit. Why you wake, Gura? Gura take nice nap. In friend.
That thing's your friend?
He's everybody friend. He's good. He's good stuff. Why you don't say hi to friend?
Oh, he sure said hi to us earlier. We were concerned that someone had been trapped by your friend.
What did it say?
Made us remember things?
Yes, it do that. What did it make you remember?
Like right then? Like I was remembering like right then.
What were you doing right then?
Whatever I was doing right now.
Mm-hmm. He kind of groggily looks at Beza. What do you remember? What do you...
It made me remember and feel this time when I was really confused and didn't know what was going on.
Oh. And Gura, you assume, kind of lifts one of his little clawed hands and just like pats the fung. Oh, he's okay. He's fine. I know you're confused. He's okay. It's as how it tells things to you. It makes you feel. You feel your feelings, so you feel their feelings.
So it makes us feel what it's feeling right then and there.
Mm-hmm. That's how it tell you things. Very considerate friend. Guru appreciates upfront expressions of feelings.
Oh, Does it understand words too?
That Gura is not sure. It feels your feelings when you feel its feelings that it makes you feel of your feeling. I am very tired.
Yeah, I
Gura
get
is
it,
so
'cause you're
tired.
napping.
Gura use first person pronoun.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We didn't know you were taking a nap. We thought maybe someone was trapped under it and didn't want to be.
No, Gura wanted to be there.
Well, you can go back to your nap. We're sorry for interrupting you, but we were looking for some of our friends. That might have come through here. That they fell down this hole, and we hadn't seen them since, and we've been looking. So you're gonna make me real tired too. You know, those are contagious, right?
What are you doing?
What was that, little one?
What's the thing with your mouth? What are you doing?
Don't talk about you. You make Gura. Oh. And Gura yawns again.
It's like you do it when you're sleepy. It's like a noise that you make that tells everybody that you're tired.
Oh.
Gura once heard it. It helps regulate internal temperature. But that may
I
be
don't know much
supposition
about
on
that.
Gura's part. Sorry, I'm actually really fascinated by yawning.
Like, why is it contagious?
Right?
What?
And why do dogs do it? Because they have empathy.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Gura just kind of creaks his neck a little. You can sort of tell, like, as you're talking to him, he's slowly waking up. And at the implication of, you can go back to your nap, Gura just kind of, Gura awake now. So Gura be awake for a while. So you are stuck with Gura for some time.
Okay. Well, that's fine. It's about time that we had an adult present.
I need a grown up. Is this a grown up? Yeah, I guess he's old.
Kind of a grown up.
So you say friends, you look for friends.
Yeah, we were looking for our friends. Might have come through here.
Friends are good.
Yeah, yeah, they are. They're like brand new friends, so they're practically strangers. But strangers is a friend you haven't met yet.
Oh, you saw that play too. I did too. Gura did
I've
too.
known them about as long as I've known them.
Angela very bad at third person. How did Kyle do it for 100 episodes? Or more. So Gura sort of shuffles a little bit. You can tell as he turns a little bit and starts heading down the tunnel that you all were already going down. It seemed to know where you were, like which direction you were going. You see that Gura is a turtle by the looks of it. Harland, you've seen turtles before. A very large, very craggy, old tortoise-looking turtle, with his shell on the back is coated in dirt from the wall, but then also underneath it is just like very soft greenish brown moss just growing into it and across his back, and then still like bits and pieces of the mycelium from the fungus kind of also mixed in there with what looks like maybe surface moss and lichen. He appears to be someone who perhaps naps for long periods of time for things to just grow and colonize his shell. And so yeah, he's you also see down from his jaw, from his like sort of very craggy, he's got kind of like jacked teeth, whatever the equivalent of jacked teeth would be for something with a beak. The edges of his beak are a little like jagged. And you see he's got like bright red grown into his skin, these like sort of markings that are just part of his skin texture. Very, very bright red. It's pretty. And it's probably the only pretty thing about Gura. But he's shuffling kind of slowly, kind of walking down ahead of you. We go find friends for Gura's new friends.
Well, that's awful nice of you. We're much obliged. Where is this?
It is cave. We are in cave.
But like we fell into the forest above the cave. Have you been up in that forest up there?
Were you in sky?
I think we fell asleep. Like everything kind of just went kind of went well, all like, you know, wibbly wobbly, like we got sucked into a book.
Yeah. 1 minute you're in a library, maybe gonna learn how to read, and the next you're in grass inside the book.
Inside book. That is. Gura also have theories about world. Gura thinks book is very interesting theory. Yes.
What's your you think that what's your theories?
Gura
like we know it's about.
He just sort of plows right over your question. Gura think perhaps that we are manifestation of universe's consciousness. That we are universe experiencing itself. Like how you have fingernails and tippy toes and hair. We are just that for universe, and that we feel a cohesive, unified experience. And so Gora thinks.
So I'm a toenail?
You seem... Gura stops. Looks at you, kind of cranes his neck really far. Puts a little claw out. Looks for your shoulder. You could be toenail, yes. You are made of strong stuff. Gura turns back around and continues.
It's called air shale. And some metal. I think he used brass. I'm not 100% sure.
What word do you use?
Brass?
No, word for... Points at your face. Points to his face, indicating your face.
Air shale?
Bless you.
that was kind of funny. That was kind of clever.
Just continues meandering down. He's going about half the pace you guys were going before. So you can choose whether you're going to catch up to him or like walk behind him.
He seems to know where he's going, so just follow along.
Just slow and steady, You know how it goes.
It does win the race.
Can we look for signs as we're going, especially since he's going so slow, of our friends at all? Footprints or
Sure.
a mark on the ground or anything?
I would get ahead of him if you're going to do that. He's a little slightly... Yeah. So you have your torch out and you look. Give me an investigation check. If both of you are doing it, go ahead and give me one. Oh no.
3.
Oh no. Y'all are detectives.
Roll the case. We'll solve it.
I'm supposed to be hitting shit, not finding shit.
Gura continues walking forward as you're like kind of glancing around. You are in such a rush. Gura take you to two friends. Gura's friends. Gura's friends may know where your friends are.
Oh yeah, that'd be might helpful. Cause
All right.
So this book theory. Tell me more. Tell Gura more.
So first you gotta well, in Base's case, be born, or in my case,
That is
cause
usually a good place to begin.
Right, that you got to start somewhere.
That's hurting my
or
arms.
you cause all manner of ruckus.
Go ahead.
Or you cause all manner of ruckus, and you get sent to, a reacclimation center, and then you get to assign to work in the library, and then you break into the restricted section, and then there's all manner of stuff like a little thundercloud and a little fire weasel, and then you pick up a book, and then you find yourself in a forest, and that's about it.
This librocentric view of universes lacks word that Guru cannot remember. It seems overly complicated. It lacks simplicity.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Perhaps second
don't know
draft
that-
would improve to make more accessible.
all right. Well, what if
Book
just
joke.
this portion of the world is inside a book, and the universe is like one big library,
Ooh, library theory. Ooh,
and we got sucked
Gura, I
out of
like
the
this.
wrong book and put into this one?
Ooh, were you from book or from library?
We were in a library. I guess the book was in a library. I mean, I guess we could have come from a different book before we were there.
Or perhaps
don't-
different library.
That you're asking me some real big questions that are making me start thinking about things that I don't want to think about right now.
What good else but think? Gura take nap and think for a very long time with friend. Nice time to pass.
Thinking hurts sometimes.
Maybe you should eat something. I've heard that's supposed to make you masticating people feel better.
I ain't never masticate no person before.
No, I can't. Do you want to eat something? And she pulls the meat brick and the zucchini brick out of her.
Oh yeah, I'll chew on that square veggie right there. Yeah, I'll chew on that one.
Here you go. Gura, are you hungry after your nap? I've got some kind of meat.
Gura vegetarian, thank you though.
I'll share the squarkini.
It's fair. Gura stops.
I can cut it in half.
Gura puts his hand out. I make quick work.
Hands over the zucchini.
See, clean line simplicity is good. And just eats the stem part of it. Hands the rest of it back to you, Harland. It's a bit of a chunk out of it, if you don't mind eating from a stranger. But you have the rest of the completely valid zucchini.
The valid zucchini.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Thanks. That was definitely efficient. It'll start nibbling away at the zucchini.
Mm-hmm. Tastes like
Beza
zucchini.
puts the meat back in the pocket.
So
Much
you guys.
obliged, Beza.
Oh yes, thank you, little one.
You're welcome.
Gura like new friends. They bring interesting thought experiment and snackies.
Well, I mean, you gotta have your vittles. That's just part of life. No matter what book you're in, you gotta have your vittles.
Yes, Vital is universal constant.
Well, sorta.
I don't know. I still ain't never seen nobody make grits like my aunt makes grits.
No, I just mean sorta because I don't have to eat.
Well, that sure is convenient.
Gura stops when you say that, Beza, that you don't eat. Kind of just casually turns to you. How does little one feel time normally kept for food?
Well, I saved the food that was given to me so that other people would have food later. That's why I had the square zucchini thing and the meat in my pocket. And sometimes I sharpen my blades, although the guards didn't like that very much at the Reclamation Center. And what else did I do? To be perfectly honest, I've only been alive for like a day and a half, so I haven't had to do it too much.
He seems like doubly interested when you say you're new, basically. So little one
I'm an unaccounted for anomaly in the mathematical equation. Whatever that means.
Equation is common theory for universe.
Which sure is where we come from. It's all they ever talk about.
Yeah.
Equations.
Equation this, equation that, everything fits into the grand scheme, the grand formula. It's like, I'm sure that's why we was at the Reclamation Centers, because we were X's when we should have been O's.
Gura like tic-tac-toe.
It is a fun game.
Equation, common theory of universe, but Gura find it lack flexibility.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just want to have a hoedown, and everybody's just line dancing.
Line is not organic or flexible.
And it's not
What's
fun
a
either.
hoedown?
It's like, it's like when, you have someone who's playing on a fiddle and someone who's playing, the catgut broom handle that's shoved into a metal pail.
Gut.
And
I love cats.
it's just called catgut. I don't know that it's actually catgut.
Gura lifts a finger and then thinks better of it. So little one has not seen much, has not seen many moons or places.
We just got the one.
It's hard to tell, but his eyes are shining a little. He seems like he's trying to smile. And he looks at Hardland and goes, blank slate. Gura make Gura happy. He just turns back around and starts walking down the tunnel again.
God damn it, Ange.
Oh, is that because she's kind of rock?
Oh, wait, is that a joke?
You just hear it echoing down the hall. He's like a big Yoda. I'm gonna this could go on forever, and as much as I love it, we could just have an entire episode. Gura feels like, he's like a Bob Ross. You just kind of want to let him, go with whatever his train of thought is. Just let him go with it. So Gura continues kind of like, and occasionally he kind of brushes his claws against the fungus, and his eyes kind of drift closed, and he's like, and then he'll go back to walking. And it takes a while. You guys are walking for probably a half an hour of just like, occasionally there's conversation between you. It's similarly esoteric and dense. Gura clearly has a lot of time to think about things. He's a very, like, it's almost like his wisdom score is super fucking high. And he thinks about a lot of things, about the nature of the universe and such. But he asks questions of you, Beza. Things like, you know, you don't eat. What do? You already answered that. But like concepts of right and wrong, and like crime and ethic. Like he's like kind of putting you through your paces a little bit about what you think about certain things. And Heather, what I might do is give you those questions, because I'm actually really curious what Beza's answers would be, but I don't have those questions in my brain right now, so we're just gonna say you had that conversation with him. Gura continues leading you down, and eventually you start seeing a little bit of light. It's blue, like blue-green, like a teal color. And thank you for the raid. So you see this down the tunnel. There is this teal light, and Gura keeps kind of walking past you. At one point, he reaches into. You see, he had a pouch, and he reaches into his pouch, and he's got a like. It's kind of like a reed, like a really thick reed, and he kind of reaches behind him and like scratches one of his shoulders inside his shell, and then he pulls it back and he puts it back in his bag, and he's just like, ooh, Gura's nap take very long time, and it takes many minutes for stretching creaks out of Gura's arms. Oh, Gura was asleep for much time.
How long you think you were asleep for?
Ooh, Gura came out with new theory of universe. It was wild. That usually takes much time.
You're a lot more productive in your naps than I am.
Ooh, cannot waste time. Have limited time.
Well, that's the beauty of a nap. Is that it's nothing but wasting time.
Emptiness of mind being itself substance.
Yeah. What you said. Yeah.
Gura appreciates Blue Fellow.
Well, thank you. I appreciate me too.
Gura points suddenly towards the teal light down the hallway, and he says, Gura's friends are this way. They will chat like Gura's friend chat. And he points to the wall.
Oh, so your friends are like this stuff here then.
Different genus, similar though.
Okay. Are they as nice?
Very, very nice, very generous. Gura's friends like to have good time.
All right. Should we apologize for cutting the one back there since we didn't know? We didn't know it was a thinking thing. We thought it was a plant.
Gura think that may help. It would not hurt to say sorry for hurt. And Gura reaches for your hand, Beza, and like walks you up to the wall and puts your hand on the fungus. Now you think very hard about feeling sorry, and you think about so sad, and you think about sorry. I made him far more ridiculous character than I was expecting. You see, and Gora's like, you tell friend, you hurt for hurt you make. You think these things.
All right. She closes her eyes and tries to focus on all that.
And you hear like next to your ear, and then you sneeze.
She don't sneeze.
Gura pats you on the back. Gura tell jokes when Gura wake up better. So yeah, not Gura's A game, but we're getting close. And he just kind of waits, and puts both of his claws into, like, he sort of pushes into the fungus and like puts his face against it. It's very much like that shot from Jurassic Park where Dr. Sadler's like on the Triceratops. It's like that. He just sort of like, ooh. I think you do good. You do good, little one. Gura's friend feel better now.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I just, we thought you were trapped. You weren't trapped. You were napping, but we didn't know that. It's a confusing thing.
Gura's friend very comfortable.
It's very soft.
Gura's other
It's a
friends
little
also
tacky,
very
though.
soft, but they can hug back.
Hey, how hard do they hug back?
As hard as friend wish.
Oh, that's fun. Like
He's
like
not
when
differentiating
you're-
what he means by friend, though. That's a very vague sentence.
It's like when your meemaw pinches your cheeks.
You just take
What's
it.
a mima?
It's okay. So you know how you had your person that carved you.
Yes.
It's whoever carved him.
He wasn't carved, though.
I'm parsing a phrase. I'm being metaphorically inclined. It's like whoever made your pawpaw, or it wouldn't be your pawpaw, it'd be your paw. Your pawpaw would be his dad. Not his.
Would his father be your papa?
It just keeps going all the way back. It gets real confusing. People think that you're making music.
It's okay. We can talk about it later. I'm not. I don't get it.
All right, that's fine. Sometimes people call him grandma instead of ma, or that
I've
kind of
heard.
thing.
I've heard that word
Right.
before.
That's yeah. And so they like to pinch. Is my point. They when they see you and they're like, oh, we haven't seen you in so long. They just come up with their fingers and just kind of get a hold in there. It hurts, but they mean well.
You hear a little clicky clacky as Gura's doing this with his hands.
It's making me very nervous, sir.
That seems like it'd be really uncomfortable.
Gura never met me, Ma. Gura never met Ma.
Well, that's very sad.
He's
Your
very,
family reunions must be very boring.
He's very his way of Gura's folk. We live long life, we live quiet life by self, but we find friends many places.
It is obviously you've made quite a few of them here.
I mean, it might not be so bad. My ex-ma's the one that called the authorities and got me sent to the reacclimation center.
Like,
Ex-ma sound like snitch.
yeah, we got a saying about snitches where we get 'em from.
They are no longer invited to cook out.
In a certain manner of speaking, sure.
So you continue walking. As you continue walking down the tunnel, with this teal light emanating from the end of it, you start seeing that the fungus, the fungal growth on the side wall starts coating the ceiling and coating the other side of the wall. So as you get closer, it's basically encircled the entire tunnel by the end. It's actually starting to kind of be on the floor as well. So there's a little bit of sponginess. Gura does not hesitate walking on it, though, so you take his cue and you continue walking.
Sure.
Sorry, that was a poorly phrased sentence. Do you take his cue and continue walking?
Yes.
Okay. Even Beza, even you, it's just a little spongy. It seems to be able to handle your stone weight quite well. And the three of you, like, Gura's sort of is kind of like a boom now. But it's like walking on Nerf material, kind of. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah,
the
I
whole
rock that.
room,
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
room is moon shoes. So here,
Too bad Paru's not here. She'd love this.
we will ask friend where Paru is. Who Paru?
One of our little friends.
Ah, one of friends.
Yeah.
Oh, more
She's
little ones.
Just
More new
she's
little
a little
ones.
bit shorter than me,
Oh,
just
even
a little bit.
smaller, littler
and
ones.
she's green, and she's got ears like him, and she's a goblin, right?
Oh,
Yeah, she's goblin colored.
goblin. Yes.
But she's little like me, and she likes mushrooms a lot.
Hmm. Gura, think Gura will like Paru. Paru Gura. Starts walking a little bit more into this spongy area. And yeah, go ahead.
He says, "Are we me? Because you just like kind of touched your other friend. Are we gonna go to that place where we can like talk to you, ask your friends question in here? We go okay.
Yes, this is oh, not far now.
Well, all right.
And you, as you're in this room, the light has sort of filled the space. And you start realizing a little bit that maybe the light's actually kind of emanating a little bit from the fungus. It's weird that it's teal though. It's an unusual like sort of juxtaposition between this like orangey yellow. You start seeing that it starts to shift to green a little, this fungus, and starts to drift a little bit to blue. So it actually does start matching this blue. It's gone through some sort of metamorphosis at this point in the tunnel, that it's emanating a little bit of light, and your torches don't seem necessary at this point. Because you're seeing very clearly now down the tunnel. It's just it's very twisty, it's very curvy. So as he's walking you through, you're only seeing a little bit ahead of yourselves. And eventually the tunnel just kind of opens to about double the width of what you were traveling before. And you start to hear a like sort of wind sound. And after a moment of this, you start hearing like a whistle tone going through this wind. And one more turn in this larger cavern, and you see a mound of something. It's mushroom-like. It's got kind of lots of lumpies on it. And it seems to be like a figure, like an actual being of some kind. It has sort of lacy, like sort of a tapered, lacy head with, it's very flat. in this very like delicate off-white color. Obviously, it's a little blue though in the light, so you can't really tell that. And it's holding what kind of looks like a gourd, and is sort of holding it on the floor, where there seems to be a little bit of a current, like the fungus is sort of like waving, like kind of shuddering a little bit there. And it's like, it's got these big knobby fingers, and it's just kind of boop, boop, and another note comes out differently, and then it turns the gourd, and then it just goes boop, 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 and another note comes out. So it seems to be playing the wind with this kind of large gourd in its hands. And Gura kind of wanders forward, and just kind of Gura's friends cannot hear. They do not have ear holes. And Gura just with his claws again, and puts his hands down on the fungus, and just and
But I think we need to follow suit on this.
think friendly thoughts.
All right. And Beza kneels down and puts her hands in the fungus.
And Harlan would do the same.
And what do you think about think friendly thoughts? What does that mean to you?
I think about Aliette agreeing to help Beza learn how to read.
Okay. What about you, Harland?
I think that Harlan would think about Paru talking about all of her mushroom friends and the fact that they are not food, and that she like
Okay.
is very like protective of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like she basically like wants to look out for them, but is also seems to be very fond of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that's what would come into his head.
Okay. So yeah, so you both think about that and kind of like send that energy out. It's like, yeah, you just gotta be like, gotta have good vibes, man. That was almost what Gura sounded like. So,
Yeah, man.
so yeah, you're thinking out these thoughts of kindness and friendship and care and concern, and just sort of hoping that works. You don't really feel different when you're thinking these things, but you do. I mean, you've already touched it, so there's going to be a little ripple, but that ripple sort of continues. And across the fungus, you see the ripple, and the ripple, when it sort of reaches this lacy, mushroomy, fungal person, it sort of just kind of shivers, like really visibly, like almost like miming, like it's pantomiming. It's very dramatic. And it kind of like shakes its lacy head, and then picks up the gourd and puts it under its arm, and like not really looks at you, but it does start moving towards you with this sort of these very like pseudopods sort of feet. So it kind of like glides as it also steps. It's kind of a very, very organic motion as it's coming towards you. It's almost like skating on the fungus. It's kind of that vibe. And it gets kind of close to you, and it kind of does this. The only way I can describe this is like you're in a Final Fantasy combat encounter, and it's just kind of like rocking. It's in its idle stance.
Just wait until my ATB gauge fills up. You gotta watch out.
So yeah, he's just kind of like, and Gura looks up and kind of creaks real bad, trying to get back up, like gets back up on his feet, and Gura comes forward and puts a hand on the gourd, and you hear the kind of like of his nails on the gourd, and he's not really talking that much. He kind of just puts a hand on the mushroom person, and they just kind of both, like in different rhythms, but they're both kind of just like hanging out, grooving a little bit. And the mushroom person like seems to expand a little bit, almost like they're inhaling. And when they kind of shrink back down, there's, instead of that sort of effect, it's just really gentle glide. It's almost like you can see the current that this dust extends to reach to you. Do you make any effort to get out of the way, or do you just let it happen?
Yeah, not this time.
Okay.
Yeah, let it happen this time.
All right. So, I mean, Beza, you could, if you don't have to breathe, but you could if you wanted to. You could inhale. That is like a thing you could do theoretically. But if you just, it worked last time if you just let it touch you, so that was fine. But Harlan, so you kind of like, all right, I'm gonna have to sneeze. It's gonna happen. And the dust gets into your nostrils, and you're just like, maybe if I just hold my breath, I won't cough this time. But you just, and you sneeze, and in the sneeze you get that flash, and you have all right. So the next question is, what would have been a moment that you experienced what was the experience that you extended help to someone else, and you got that like jolt of like, feels good to help people. You get that kind of like surge of altruism reward, like serotonin in your brain. If you don't know that feeling, also let me know, because there could be a sort of like block in communication if there's not really a good way to express that to your character. And there's just sort of the mushroom dance.
I think for Beza, the only moment I can think of for her was when she was able to give Harland and Garu the
Gura, I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
the square-kini.
Okay. Give them food because you knew that they...
Yeah, she thought ahead for her eating friends, and it came in handy, and he got food. That's the only thing I can think of for her.
Sure. The differently masticating.
I think for Harlan, it would also be food related. That they were at like the community probably did like, you know, very harvest meal style thing where it's like everybody brought like something to the potluck, and you know, there's always that like one thing that you're like, yes, those sweet rolls, everybody's on those sweet rolls. But you know, it's those sweet rolls are like the shit. You know, that you got to get them, and so like everybody goes and they get their sweet rolls, and like they're trying not to, you know, be all, you know, up front that they're all like going for the sweet rolls, but like everybody that gets there first is getting a sweet roll, so you know, it's just there. And Harlan manages to get a sweet roll, and then he notices that like one of the little kids, it's a couple rows back, is like looking up and like gets like really, really disappointed that the sweet rolls are gone, and so like Harlan like gave up his sweet roll to this kid to like make sure that, like, you know, it's like, oh, you're not gonna go. I've had these sweet rolls before. You can have the sweet roll.
How very Aladdin of him.
Yeah, I mean, the kid sounded just like a poo, you know. So.
All right. So yeah. So you get this sort of intense sensation of wanting to extend assistance to a person, and that feeling of good vibes that you get when you receive gratitude for that act. So yeah, you get the sense that this person, this being, wants to help you, and like genuinely wants to help, and finds almost like helping is its own reward, is sort of the vibe you're getting from this person. Let's call them Lacey.
And the same mushroom person repeatedly will get old.
Yeah. So, Lacey seems to indicate that they are happy to help. And Guru's like, oh, yes, Guru's friend will help find your friends.
Well, that is, we are much obliged for the assistance, because they fell down this pit, and we wouldn't have been able to find them.
Guru's friends also welcome you to Guru's friends' party.
What, like a hoedown? They're having a hoedown out here?
Guru's friends have very fun parties.
Like, okay, what kind of parties? There's like those parties that, it's like, oh, everybody can come to the party, but then everybody just stands around. It's like the punch bowl. And then there's those parties where it's like, it's real rowdy and it stays up way too late at night, and then you can't get a good night's sleep and you wake up with a headache, and, that type of thing.
Guru's friends' party's very still, but you wake up very refreshed and introspective.
That sounds like just like a nap.
It doesn't sound too bad.
No, though participation in party is purely voluntary.
Does it need more does your friend need more information about our friends to find them?
Yes, sorry. Gura thinking about party. Yes, you think thoughts about friends, think thoughts about friendship, and that. Yes, and big friend will put out feelers for friends.
I like that, and we'd be much obliged. Yeah, we will gratefully come to this party so that we can talk about our friends.
Very good.
Yeah, definitely.
And Gura kind of pats Lacey on shoulders, something that looks like a shoulder at least, and Lacey kind of does a little like pantomime sort of elaborate, like, ooh, yay, and turns and starts kind of like skating back down the hallway, and actually takes a very sharp turn towards a wall, and as Lacey gets close to the wall, the fungal surface just kind of like opens and just like gives Lacey a big hug, and Lacey's gone, like just absorbed into the wall. Gura walks past, though, does not seem to go towards where Lacey was absorbed, just continues down the tunnel. And just so Gura takes you into another much longer tunnel space, but it's straight away, and it's packed. Like, you saw one and it was empty, and you turn and the party's here. So what you see is, like, it can best be described as gentle psychedelics. Like pastel psychedelic is sort of the vibe here. There are different colors, not like strobe or anything, but like different sources of light throughout the space that seem bioluminescent in nature, and so the colors are sort of blended together in this kind of very kind of like watercolor vibe with light, and there are lots of very absurd shapes and sizes of these sort of mushroom folk, and they're just kind of chilling. Some of them are sitting down, some of them are like doing some sort of dance, and some of them are like, they seem to just be staring at the wall. If that's where the front of their face is. It's kind of hard to tell which. They don't have faces, really. They're just kind of like amorphous shapes. It's very Fantasia. They're just sort of... they don't have faces. And Gura, weirdly, without talking, Gura sort of like pats them on the shoulders, or like just kind of pats scritches a belly of one of them. And you notice that one of the that, like Lacey, a lot of these creatures are very sort of pantomimey. They have a lot of physicality to them in the way that they sort of express, even though they seem very still a lot of the time. When you can sort of tell when they're focused on someone, that there is a lot of movement in the way that they behave. But you see, as Gura's moving, you kind of catch these glimpses of like spores being released into the air, and you get a sense of like they're kind of saying hi as Gura is kind of moving through the tunnel space. As you go through, you occasionally catch a whiff, and Harland, achoo, and you get a sense of like seeing an old friend, like a moment that you reunited with somebody you hadn't seen in a very long time, and that sort of like that homey feeling of seeing that person again. That's the sensation that you get, that memory that you experience. If you have a thought, you can share it. I just was giving you a sense of what the final emotion of that is. You lived in a farming town. There'd be plenty of people that were like out, selling vegetables or something, and they'd come back after a long time. Family reunions, that sort of thing. So Guru takes you through this place, and you spend... It's hard to tell how much time passes here. You are given, and this is full disclosure for the audience. This is voluntary drug use. You could justify.
We are children.
You are children, but it's fantasy children. I don't know. It's fantasy drugs. It's fine. The point is that the mushrooms offer you the opportunity to sort of like chill in the spores, for lack of a better phrase for it. That they have sort of a sort of bonding thing that they do where they all kind of share spores. This is going to sound really weird. I'm trying to make this sound really not sexual. But spores are how they reproduce, so it's awkward. The mushrooms don't have a sense of like... No, I'm gonna stop. Hold on. I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna rewind and I'm gonna fix this.
It's like the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
He's talking about words of smoke.
There you go. They're trying to express larger concepts than just like, hi, how are you? There are like... It's almost like a Quaker meeting kind of thing, but like with mushrooms. They want to be able to have larger conversations, and those larger conversations require that their sort of means of communication become more complex. So there's going to be, instead of just one cloud from one of the mushrooms, it's that they all kind of go and the whole place kind of swirls in a very complex sort of psychedelic mental telepathy sort of thing. So you're granted the opportunity to like sort of sit in on this conversation. You're probably, obviously you don't give off spores, so you're not necessarily going to be able to express ideas in this thing, but you would be able to get some sense of what the group is maybe expressing to each other, if you so choose. If not, Gura understands and could take you to a kiddie table, essentially.
Baze, I'm not sure what your level of comfort is with this, or that you would even know what your level of comfort might be with this, but this might be a good way for you to learn some advanced concepts in a very small amount of time.
All right. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Technically, I'm sort of an adult. I was sculpted to be an adult. I'm just a gnome, so I'm short. But I don't know a lot, so knowing some more would be a good idea.
I mean, it's like, if you, yeah, think of this as like cloud-based tutoring, like
What is
they,
that? Miss Janet called it something. Remedial courses.
this must be what she meant by that. Yeah, I'm sure that the reclamation center or the reacclimation center would be much more efficient.
I think it's tomato at this point with that word. You're reclaimed people.
We've been upcycled.
Or you will be, if you ever get home. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so I was always told that I couldn't participate. Yeah, I was always told I couldn't participate in these kinds of parties, and I've been waiting for this opportunity my entire life.
Harlan's been forced to be straight edge this whole time. What he really wanted to do was party.
All right, I'm in. I've never been to a party before.
I'm sure not all parties like this one. As a matter of fact, I know that all parties are not like this one.
Sometimes just hooch behind the barn. This is not that. So Gura.
They call it moonshine, but there is no shine or moon in it.
Gura is like, good. You join in metaphysical conversations with Gura's friends. You will understand why Gura naps with Wall.
Well, we'll find our friends. That would work too. I'd be happy with that.
Yes. Think very hard about friends when in this. Sit in corner. Sit on friend
right.
Wall. Gura sensed that language barrier might be causing slight discomfort.
I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding something or
No. You touch Wall and you think about friend.
Right.
You think about friend.
Okay, I can do that.
Yes. I only suggest Guru only suggests sit because it could take some time.
That's fine. The babies can go in the corner. We're good.
No one puts baby in corner. Thank you. So you sit there and you do as instructed. You think about your friends. You think about Paru and like, fuck, she's probably so mad that she's not here for this. Paru may have her own adventures that are, it's fine. But she might be having a really good time with some other mushroom friends right now. You think about Oliette and how there are no books here. You're not sure how she's getting along. Villain is probably being a son of a bitch, wherever they are. And so you're thinking very hard about those things. And it takes a little bit for all of the mushroom folk to arrive in the room. And then eventually you do see exactly what I described. You see a mushroom put a hand on the shoulder of another mushroom, and it's kind of adorable in a very pantomime way. The mushroom sort of like puts a hand to its chest and kind of puts its arm out like it's orating, and as it does that, like a bunch of dust hits the air like from the front of it. It's almost like a wave effect off of the front of his body. And then another one sort of does a little spin, and there's almost like a little tornado spin of dust that kicks up. And they all do very similar, very flowery or very, very theatrical sort of motions that release some of this dust into the air. And the dust is actually in different colors. And there's a point where you kind of realize that some of the dust is actually like giving off a glow for some of them. So it's really beautiful sort of like light painting that's happening. And the room becomes almost like fog. You start losing sight of some of the beings in the distance of the room because it's so dense in this space. And when you just sort of sit there and you're like, okay, I guess. Achoo! And and Harland, you give that one sneeze, and that one sneeze kicks off what turns out to be multiple minutes, you think, of experiencing kind of like a Harlan, this is your life sort of thing, but it's all disjointed and out of order. It's and much more potent than you ever remember remembering things. Again, I'm surprised I was able to say that sentence. So you again feel Harlan and Beza, you both, as much memory as you have, Beza, and we will get to you because you're gonna hit a wall at a certain point, and we'll talk about that. But Harland, you're just kind of like going through this slideshow of your experiences, and you're getting a lot of the at first you're getting a lot of like the family reunions. You're getting reuniting, seeing someone, catching up, like, oh, hey, how are the kids? What's going on? Like, how's school going? You're gonna like go or like, how's the farm? Lots of farm talk. But it's all coalescing in this feeling of you have an intense attachment to people and you care about what those people are doing. Like, that's the feeling you get. You care about their lives. You care about how they are pursuing their own interests and their own passions. You're excited about the fact that they feel passionate about certain things. That sort of community, family set of emotions. And you're in that for a long time because clearly a lot of what this is them sort of all reconnecting with each other. And then you get a little bit of like the fun of having mishaps as a child, like the shit you get into as a little kid. So clearly there's some ribaldry happening. There's some like stories being shared among the mushroom people about some of the things they've seen when they've been out and about. You also get a little bit of concern and sadness if you've ever misplaced something and not known where it was, and it's like, that was my favorite toy. And you lost that. You get a little bit of that somewhere. Someone had a bad time. And you get this very tapestry of emotions, but again, it's all very out of order. Beza, you have a similar experience, but there are things you see that you don't recognize. They don't seem to be from your life experiences. Because there is a point where your life experiences are 36 hours. You have not experienced everything there is to experience. You have a very finite, like, you kind of have blinders when it comes to your life. I need to find a different word for experience, but you know, the depth of emotion that you've experienced and the depth of relationships that you've experienced is still very shallow. So there are points where you sense that the spore connection is trying to get something across to you, and it's almost like hearing someone talking to you in a party from across a wall. There's sort of a like that kind of, like, you don't quite connect. That emotion doesn't hit clarity for you. But it's very like blurry and foggy. It's almost like you're almost connecting with someone else's memories, but like you're not allowed there. You can't get into that level of telepathy with this. You're only getting that sense of it. So your experience is a little more amorphous, a little more blurry. It's still very pleasant, but you're not getting as sharp a feeling from these things as Harland is. Though Beza, you do have a glimmer of like, you have these little flickers of clarity. And then all of a sudden, like, hitting you like a Mack truck, everything gets sharp. You feel very open in your mind is very clear, and you see Paru running through the stacks in the library. So you're thinking like, oh gosh, what's Paru up to? Oh, she really likes mush. Like all the things you're thinking and feeling are very specific to Paru. And then you get like another little glimpse of Paru from when she was lying about the book that she, oh yeah, there's totally a book that I left in this area in the other. So you're getting a lot of these little, this again, mishmashed, out of order montage of things with having to do with Paru and your very short time of experiences with her. But they're all very potent. You're just like, yeah, just everything you're feeling about her is very, very in focus. And so you have this sort of montage of Paru, and you fade back into opening your eyes, and you're like, oh, you're in the room. You're in the mushroom room. The mush room. Huh. And Harland is sitting next to you, and Harland, you open your eyes, and you have had, like, you're sitting there, and like your hands are tingling, like you kind of like flex your hands for a while, and like your mouth is really dry and your nose is really dry, and you kind of like your face is cold, and you kind of put your hand up to your face, and you're actually a little damp where your cheeks were. Like you might have been crying at one point. It's you don't feel like you're crying, but like you might have at some point during this. And so yeah, but you feel really refreshed. Like it actually feels a little like when you have a good cry. It's very cleansing. So you feel very refreshed and clear-headed and like, wow, that was an experience. But you're not like groggy or hungover or anything like that. It seems like it's past. And when things like, when you start kind of becoming a little more aware of your surroundings, the room's empty. And like there's still a little bit of dust, but it's near the ceiling. And Gura is sitting sort of like 2 feet in front of you both. Also kind of cross-legged, and his eyes are closed. And he's just kind of like sort of thinking very loudly. But yeah, you both come to, and you're awake. Good party. Do you have good time at party?
It was definitely an experience.
First time.
I think so. There were some things that were a little fuzzy, but then at the end, I got really, really clear images of Paru.
Ooh, that would mean that maybe one of Gura's friends saw Paru. Have same reaction to Paru as you do.
She would definitely make friends with a mushroom person.
Ooh, friend, mushroom friend. Yes, I remember things. I saw a lot of things. Gura saw a lot of things. Fuck. Gura sometimes forget that Gura chooses this affectation for Gura to speak with. And Gura kind of hauls himself up onto his feet. He's very stable on the ground. And reaches out with both of his hands to offer you both a hand to get up off the ground. Come. Gura is very fucking strong. Unexpectedly strong. Like, Beza, he can actually get you up on your feet pretty easy. And so whoop, and you both get hauled to your feet, and Gura sort of like moves his shell a little bit, and then he's like, and he kind of shakes, and a bunch of the dust spores kind of shake off of him. You do not have a flash from it. It's just kind of there. It seems to be residual and not actively trying to express some sort of idea to you. And he goes, yes, we will. Hold on. And he puts his hands down on the floor. Yes, you will come with Gura. We will find friend. Friend is. And he looks up. Friend is up.
She's up, so she's above ground?
Gura thinks so. Yes.
Wait, so we came down here and we didn't. Well, that is just a tiny bit frustrating, I will say.
All journeys have reason.
Well, I wasn't saying that it was
Gura help.
pointless to
You
come
make
down.
friend with Gura. You do not regret trip to Gura.
No, I never said that I did. I just said that it was like we could have just found them up above the ground. It would have just saved some time. That's all I'm saying.
You would not have.
I don't regret coming down here.
Okay.
To be fair, we don't know if we would have found her above ground without the help.
Little one is wise.
I'm really not.
The little one is smart. No, go ahead.
Guess what my dump stats are?
All the brain ones.
Yep. And actually, strength a little bit.
Oh my god. I dumped all my stats. Beautiful.
What'd you
I
get?
made her a dex fighter and a dex fighter with a high constitution.
So, Gura lifts himself up after communing with the floor. Man, that's a good way to call someone really drunk. They're communing with the floor. So Gura gets up and with a little more energy than you've seen in the turtle before, kind of just walks towards the end of the hall, end of the room, where you haven't been yet. So it's continuing forward through the mushrooms. And he takes you towards a higher incline. It's a little like a what's it called? Not Legends of the Hidden Temple, Guts. That's the one I was thinking. It's like a big foam, like mountain sort of thing of mushroom. It's going to take a bit of climbing to get back up the way, up to the surface. But so he's climbing and you're climbing along with him. Some of it kind of like, it's fun. You get to a level at one point and you kind of feel like the ground pushed you up a little. So like you're getting a little bit of a boost sometimes, like an active boost.
Oh goodness.
And I told you the room is moon shoes. And so you ascend, you ascend to the surface with Gura, and again the ground opens, but in a much more intentional way now. Instead of that like crumble, you see sort of this wide opening, and the fungus sort of grows out into out onto the surface from this opening, and you climb up, and it is daybreak, like the earliest daybreak morning. There are not as many trees in this space, and you can see some of the horizon here on the ground, and the sun is like just a sliver over the horizon here. It's very early in the morning according to the sun. And Gura kind of gets up and stretches and looks around. Sort of shakes off. Doesn't make any comment.
We partied all night.
Apparently.
All night, no, not all night. Gura. Oh, you are new. You come from library, so you do not know. You travel in place. Daybreak word. We travel daybreak word.
Trail. Daybreak. What?
Huh?
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Gura learn of places where travel in world come from. Up, down, this way, that way. That is not how travel work here. That is not how you journey through world. You journey through world from sky. You journey toward night, and he points one direction. You journey toward daybreak, toward twilight, toward midday, and he points in the other direction.
You mean like different places have different times of the day that they just are?
Yes, this is what Gura say.
Really?
'Tis a silly place.
I mean, it's not any sillier than the mushroom party. It's just confusing.
Gura never say that. Gura never say it makes sense.
True.
Just way world is.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I guess different worlds got different rules to them. Yeah. So
See, some worlds library, some worlds book, some worlds stupid equation.
All right. So, Paru's in the daybreak direction.
Gura thinks so, yes.
All right. What about the other two?
Did not see other two.
Well,
Did you? Neither
yeah,
of you
we
did.
had
Like, you didn't. You saw glimpses of Oliette and Villain, but only in passing. It was not the way that Beza saw that montage of Paru. So you're pretty certain that the mushroom folk might not have encountered them.
Well, that's fair. We couldn't hope for everybody running across the mushroom people, but that's fine. But
I mean,
it's-
Villain
it's
seems
good
like he
that-
would have really liked the party, but they're down to party.
Not saying, just saying.
So it was daybreak,
It's
twilight.
so it's you're heading daybreak. The opposite of daybreak is twilight, and then you have midday and crap.
Midnight.
No, so yeah, daybreak and nightward. Sorry, daybreak and nightward. Then you have twilight and midday, I think, are the ones. I'll figure it out. I had them written down. I didn't have them in my brain at the moment. Oh
Get my
no,
notes.
twilight would be sunset word. Sorry. So it's daybreak daybreak, sunset, midday, night. So it's like opposites. Think about like the sun being in the opposite way in the sky.
So if you walked in a circle, you could simulate the actual cycle.
I
Got
mean,
it. Cool.
logic would dictate that. Don't know if this place abides by logic, but sure.
I'm just saying based off of the description.
Yes,
that you
based
just
on the
gave.
description,
Cool.
absolutely. So Gura walks over to the edge of the fungus where it's sort of like seeping out from the cave, and he puts his bag down. He had like sort of a messenger bag. He puts that down on the ground, and then he sits down, rolls onto his back, and just starts doing this a bunch on the ground, and the fungus sort of gets peeled off with the grass. Like he's just sort of like rubbing it off, and then gets up, shakes a bit, and there's just moss mostly on his shell now, and the bits of detritus from the fungus are there on the ground, and Gura just sort of friend, stay with friend. Don't want to take it where I don't want to go.
What, did it say that it didn't want to come with? Because I was actually going to ask if it wanted to come with.
It's fine.
All right.
We go then.
All right.
With no friends.
Yeah,
And with his hands up, he just...
To new friends.
And and as you walk forward, through what is a much, like I said, a much thinner forest, a few steps, and you suddenly hear a very, very, very loud, for lack of a better description, a French horn. The sort of a hunting horn. Very, you hear it once, and then you hear it. You hear it again, and Gura sort of listens and looks.
What's that?
Hunt.
What kind of hunt?
Yeah, for what?
And he walks towards a very large tree and just kind of stands behind it. And just kind of beckons you both. There's enough room for you to stand behind the tree together. It's like a sequoia width tree. And you both stand there, and you sort of wait, and you hear for the third time, and from the woods, you see it's almost like a rhinoceros. It's got like a really long horn on the front of it. It's got this really thick hide. But it has like long fingers. It's weird. It doesn't have like the big stubby hands that a rhinoceros would have. It actually has like kind of claws. And it's like stalking forward, and on the back of this rhinoceros creature, there is a saddle, and sitting in the back of it is a very large, gray, skinned, like cracked and craggy, like chapped gray skin person with a very wide ears and very long trunk, and it has like metal plating armor down the front of its head, and it's almost like a greenish coppery sort of thing, like almost like a rusted up or like a tarnished copper, and its whole armor, it's wearing like a whole thing of plate armor, and you see it just kind of walk up, and it or like on its steed, you see it come up, and just like it's very loud, and you see on the side of the rhinoceros there's a horn, like a very long, big, spindly horn, and the rider puts a hand on the mouth of this horn, and its trunk goes in like a foot before it into this big horn. And you watch in the distance as a bunch of birds take flight, just like from the noise and sort of disruption, but then after the little birds take flight, you see something else take flight. It is huge. It is covered in black feathers, and you'd call it a raven if it wasn't as big as it is. And it just takes flight and comes right over the way you came. And the elephant person, the Loxodon, follows it with like eagle eye precision, and kicks, it's like sort of taps the edge of its rider, and they gallop towards the raven, or in that direction, past your tree, and Gura kind of like, almost like he's trying to get smaller, just sort of like bunches up and kind of squishes his face like, don't see us, don't see us, don't see us, don't see us. And as you're galloping, or as it's galloping, the rhinoceros creature like whooshes by you, and then it stops. It like skids to a halt, and it like looks back and sees the three of you behind the tree. And the Loxodon kind of turns the thing, and looks at you with like these beady little blue eyes underneath its helmet. Hey there.
It flew that way. It flew that way.
I know the creature flew that way, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're in the... And he pulls a spear and points it at the two of you. You're in the domain of Her Majesty of the Hunt. Those who are not in the hunt are the hunted. I would be wary. And that is where we will end the night. At Spear Point.
Well, all right. Yeah, that is just a different change of pace from what we just came from. All right.
There's a lot of stuff to find here.
All right.
So, that is our session for that.
Thank
Is
you,
chapter. That is chapter 2 of the Book of Faebles. I keep doing this. I'm sorry, Mouse. I keep doing good. Anyway, so that was chapter 2 of Shenanigoons, the Book of Faebles. We will have chapter 3 next week, which I believe we all, if all goes well, we will have a full house. All 4. We will get you all back together in some capacity, and we'll see how that unfolds.
Getting the band back together.
Yep.
What?
Thank you so much, Heather and Kyle. I was very excited to get to know Beza and Harland a little bit more. It was wonderful having you both here.
Happy to be here.
Everyone watching, thank you so much for catching the show tonight. We know that you have a lot of places that you could be tonight, and you chose to be here with us, and we're very glad that we could give you perhaps a bit of respite from, other websites you're avoiding right now or things. So, once again, we are the cast of Shenanigoons. This is a D&D stream, and we are continuing our 3rd campaign right now, the Book of Faebles, and we're very excited to continue it. We're right in the beginning. This was just our 2nd episode. So if you want to catch us here every week, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, we're here. We are part of the Nerdsmith Network. We're actually directors from the network, and we are very passionate about nerdy content, free nerdy content for you in the forms of podcasts and live streams and other nonsense. You can find more information about us at nerdsmith.org, or you can check out, most importantly, our Discord. Our Discord is a community that we are incredibly proud of. We have a lot of really great people there. We try to keep it a safe space and a place for you to to find certain topics if you want to talk about them. We do have a completely isolated U.S. politics section. If you want to mute that and not be involved, totally fine. Or if you want to delve into it, you're more than welcome to. But we are a really fun community. We value everybody feeling included and safe, so please check us out and have a good time. All of the creators are there all the time, so you can come hang out with us and chat and get to know us a little bit better. We'd love to get to know you. And if you liked the show and you would like to continue supporting us, you can find us at Patreon, patreon.com/nerdsmith. Us directors right now are working on bonus content, things like that. Lots of fun little podcasts and little side projects that we're working on. And we'll be putting more out in the future. So if you'd like, we'd love your support, and you can help us keep the lights on and do what we got to do to continue making fun, nerdy content for you. We'll do the giveaway next week, Tessa, when we got the whole crew in. So next week, if you come in for episode 3, we will do another Die Hard Dice gift card giveaway. So that's $50 for Die Hard Dice, which includes their metal dice sets, anything on the show or anything on it. But we do definitely. We're very excited to do that for y'all. So please join us next week. We, again, are hosted by Die Hard Dice. Eldritch Foundry is our sponsor for our character art. They are an incredible service to design your own fantasy figurines and be able to print them out. You can also get digital versions. This is the coolest part. You can get digital tokens of your characters, but also top down. So if you ever want to do maps and stuff, you can actually get a top down version of the character you design in Eldritch Foundry, which is super cool to me. It's like one of my favorite parts of the service. So definitely check them out. And we are also sponsored by Wyld ANVIL. Wyld ANVIL are amazing. They're a dear, dear friend of the show, an amazing community of super inventive people, and they put so much time and effort into engaging their community. They do events almost on the monthly at this point. When it comes to writing and world creating, December is going to be World Ember, which is when they do big world building contests and challenges. You write an article about your world every day for the month of December. So you should definitely check them out. They do a lot of really cool inspiration live streams and stuff with different guests to talk about different subjects. So you can do a lot of brainstorming and coming up with your worlds. I will be doing a lot of world building for this game in our Wyld ANVIL coming up soon. I just gotta, put my nose to the grindstone and actually put it down and review episodes, because sometimes I'm making shit up as I go. Sometimes, a lot of times. Logan, I'm sorry every time I have ever naysayed the allure of just improving an entire 3-hour episode. And that's all I got for you, honestly. Heather, Kyle, is there anything you want to plug or talk about or remind people about? I'll give you the floor if you'd like it. If not, you can just give me a thumbs up and it's fine. Heather's a host on a show.
That's true. I was going to say, the other show that I'm part of here at Nerdsmith, at least at the moment, I've been on others here and there, but the one I'm on currently is Geek Thyself. It is a podcast released every other week. And myself and my co-host Russ, who's also made appearances here on Nerdsmith streams, so you may have seen him before. He played Finku in The Countless Heroes, as an example. He and I talk about different nerdy or interesting to us topics every week. Our Halloween special, we read some fairy tales from
how
different
timely.
locations. It's family-friendly and educational, but we're also discussing the topic and throwing in our own ideas, so it's a little more fun than just reading it yourself.
Awesome. Very cool. Tomorrow night I am hosting Discover RPG at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm sorry, I flipped the time zones, but I just remember 9 o'clock. I am not sure what I'm going to be doing yet, but last week I was narrating and playing The Yogg, which is a storytelling game, and I might do something similar this time. I'm doing a lot of exploration into other types of storytelling and role play, what counts as role play. So video games, I think, honestly, role-playing games are video games too sometimes, so I am going to be expanding my definition in order to expand the content of the show. So please check me out. Please check the show out first, please. Thank you. So it's Discover RPG here, same channel. So if you haven't followed us here on Twitch or on Twitter at We Are Nerdsmith, you should definitely do so because you'll get pinged when we go live. So please do so. Hooray! That's all I got. That's all I got for you guys. We roped you in for 3 hours of stuff. Now we got our claws in you, you suckers.
Step with us.
All right, everybody. You have a wonderful rest of your evening. We hope we see you sometime this week. We have other shows, Discover RPG on Wednesdays, and Nerdsmith Sings Our Heart Out on Fridays, which is karaoke for charity. So if you like any of our faces, you might hear our voices while we're on there.
Not Beza's accent, I promise.
Oh my god.
Well, unless someone pays for it.
Yeah, if someone wants to pay
Suddenly
extra.
Seymour. Gotta do it.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Beza Suddenly Seymour. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Harland. No, that was Kyle's suggestion. So, thank you for your evening. And we will see you next week. Please take care of yourselves, be safe, make good choices, wear your masks, and we love you very much. Please do me a favor, though, and be good to each other, all right? All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.